Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today, as promised, we're going to do our 7th facade for the back wall of the Lego room. And this time it's going to be a condominium tower, or condo. Now for this facade I'm going to use a 16 by 6 plate, just for the ground floor, and actually for every floor subsequently after that. And it's important I limit myself to this 6 depth because right in front of it at 8 distance from the wall is one of my rail lines. And not only that, but above the rail line, right against that back wall, is my elevated monorail system for my tram line. So it's really sandwiched in, so nothing can really safely stick too far beyond this footprint. And the other thing to consider is that there's no point doing too much detail for the bottom 2 floors because the train's going to be whizzing by the first one and the tram's going to be whizzing by the second one. And not only that, but there's a row of modulars in front of both of the rail lines and the tram line itself. So really the bottom sort of 6 inches or 15 centimetres or so isn't going to be visible pretty much from anywhere apart from an angle that's quite oblique or if you stand on tiptoes. So I won't focus too much on them. Now with that in mind, I just need to get the bottom floor kind of done and over with. And what I did on my last one was I kind of did the bottom floor as a kind of service floor, which was different to all the other ones, sort of being perhaps where all the equipment is that helps run the building and things like that. And also bear in mind that we are looking at the back of a building here. We're not looking at the front, so there'd be no front door or something right next to a rail line. That would be a bit suicidal. So this is the rear ground floor of a building, so it doesn't have to really live up to much. And with that in mind, I thought I'd use this piece that I got in a recent haul. I was going to use lots of individual frames. This is a 2 wide one, but then I thought, well, I've already got something 16 wide that came from a junior set. In fact, it was the Incredibles, the Great Home Escape set, 10761, that this came with. There's a couple of other sets that have them, but they've got some form of printing on the flat bits. But it's exactly what I need, really. It's quite interesting because it's actually got some bricks on the side built in onto either side as well, but very straightforward. So I thought I'd just put that on the front here, and then I've almost done the ground floor already. So then just to keep that theme going, I'll use 2 of these frames, and it's not important that they're double depth, it's just that they're less useful, so I may as well use them up here. And then I can put the ground floor of the layer above on. So we're practically there. Now, I don't want normal glass in this floor because if I did that, then we'd be able to see into this very empty room, and that would be a bit odd. And I don't want to have to furnish it because, as I said, it's going to be very hard to be seen. So what I'm going to do is use some glass pieces that are actually coloured. So these are white. So I can put one in there, one on each end. And just because I've only got 3 and I need 5, I've also got 2 white doors, and maybe they're fire escape doors, so they'd only be used in an emergency, which would probably cause another emergency because you'd be walking out onto a rail track. But nonetheless, I quite like that. It just adds a bit of texture. I mean, you could have just done a huge amount of solid white bricks, but for quite good cost effectiveness, I've got the same effect, but with some really interesting but basic texture. Now the last thing I want to do is just do something with these bricks on the side. I was thinking about some lights, but then I thought, well, no one's going to be out there really. But I think it looks ugly with them there. So I just thought, well, I've got a couple of white 2x2 round tiles, so maybe that's just a bit of detailing. What do we think of that? I think it will definitely do because it's just going to be so out of sight. So without further ado, let's move straight on to the next floor up. And these are the pieces that I need for one floor. So all the floors are going to be somewhat the same, but that's usually the case, isn't it? Especially with high-rise residential. You've got as many people as they can cram in right next to each other. I'm just making a couple of stacks of these profile bricks, which I had to get across a few orders because no one had enough. And they're in this nice medium dark flesh colour. It's very nice. And I'm actually going to use the side of them that's got these sort of ridges on rather than the brick side, just because these are usually visible in builds that use this brick. And I thought just for a change, I'd have the sort of slatted appearance. So I'm going to do one tower on this side, recessed, and one tower on this side, quite a lot more forward. And then behind each of them, I'm going to just do a boring side wall. So that one's just 1 by 2 by 6. And the same on this with 2 1 by 2 by 5s, and instead of a 1 by 2, a 1 by 4. So that's the sides sorted, because remember this is a facade, so it is representing a building that's much deeper in reality, with a front door somewhere else and all the rest of it, but we're only seeing a little bit of it that's sort of poking into the Lego room, but it gives the impression of a much deeper building. Then we need one more tower here, and then we can do our windows. So I'm going to have one there, and then 2 here. And this gives us the ability to have a little space left over outside for a balcony, because it's always nice when these buildings have a small balcony. And with that in mind, I'm going to put the glass door in normal trans clear opening inwards, just because this balcony really isn't very big, and if we had it opening outwards, you just wouldn't be able to get out. You'd have to try and shimmy through a tiny gap. So I'll do it there, but the glass for the other 2 can go on the outside. Lovely, looking good so far. So we've kind of got one interior room quite visible, and maybe this is a bit of hallway or something like that. But it's quite interesting because we've got a different profile. This will be the main sort of viewing angle from when you enter the Lego room. So that's why I've done the balcony on this side, so it can be seen quite clearly. There's also some potential to sort of use not only furnishings in this space, but have some things mounted on the wall perhaps, so you can see those as well. But for this particular floor, I'm not going to do an interior because it's barely going to be seen, so it just seems like a bit of a waste of bricks. But I will continue with the outside. So I'm just going to do a layer of black tiles and plates. So here we've got a 2 plate, a 6 plate, and then a 6 and 4 tile. And I need plates on this bit because I'm going to make this the glass balcony with 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 1 by 2 by 2 panels in clear. Got those on a recent haul as well. And then I'm just going to use 2 3 long and 1 2 long black tiles to finish it off. So it looks very swish, I think, very modern, very sort of high end. And you can see that glass both on the balcony and on the wall itself make it very transparent, so it's very much like a picture that we can look at and admire from all directions really. And that's the real main idea behind this condo tower, is to have something where you can see really into people's homes and into their lives and do some interesting scenes. So there is the first real floor, and that will have another 6 by 16 plate on top, but I'm not going to do that because otherwise the next floor that I do will be out of shot. So I'm going to do these in pairs with the next one down here, and then at the end we can join all the pairs of floors together. So I'll put that next to Robin and we can start the next one here. Right, so the next floor can have our first scene included on it. That's what I really like about these facade buildings. You get quite a lot for your money as well as giving depth to the city, because you get the whole building, but you don't even have to build all 4 walls in a complete way. And the thing is as well, I'm really loath to do residential, because I think it's a bit boring compared with a lot of different builds you can do. I much prefer doing commercial buildings, shops and the like. But if you can also do some residential but in a very space efficient way, then all the better. Now I'm going to do this floor exactly the same way as the one we did before. What I could have done is sort of mirrored the whole thing and had the balconies sort of alternating on each side for each floor. But when I mocked that up using Lego Digital Designer, I don't think it looked as good. So I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do differently on this side is, because remember we'll be viewing it from a sort of oblique angle, sort of like this, is put something on the wall. So I thought rather than use more of the bigger bricks, I'll just use 1x4s, so I could create a wall that's got some bricks on the side, part of the way up. And then I can put on a TV. So this is from a friend's set, as you can probably guess, with a bear catching some fish, but it says TV on the corner, so you can tell it's a TV. And I can put that there, or maybe lower down. What do you think? I think probably there looks better. Now that's a TV from Mia's Campervan, which is a set from 2018, 41339. And I mean, I could have put that TV in my TV store, but I didn't really want that in the window with this sort of comedy bear. But I think from a distance, you know, when you can't see the details so much, I think that looks really good. And it's nice and bright as well, which is also important when we're doing things from a distance. So let's complete the rest of this. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to build every single floor on camera, because there are 5 more after this one. But I'll start off with the basic carcass, and then we can just do all the details together. So which way did I do the door? Did that way. And a couple of panes. That goes there. 2, 3, 4. I think as well, when you get to residential buildings, especially tall ones, they are very repetitive, which again is quite a good feature when it's in facade form, but less so when it's got all 4 sides. So there we go. So there is our next floor with TV on wall, but we need another piece of furniture, I think, so that's how they're going to watch TV. So I'm going to build a armchair, which I've done in some little assemblies just to help me. So basically this is all in dark red, and I wanted that so it would be sort of looking like one of those vintage sofas that are sort of overstuffed and really worn in and comfortable. So we've got a couple of the 2x2 corner plates with a couple of 1x2 plates on the top. And then to each side, we can then add another sub-assembly, just a 1x1 and 2 1x2s, like that. And that's just so we can use one of these modified bricks with the curve on as the sort of end of the arm for the armchair, and then we can put on another 1x1 and a 1x2 tile. Now I can't for the life of me remember where I got this design from. I think it must be in an official Lego set or something like that. Anyway, it's not my design, but it's a quite functional one. And then for the back, we've just got 2 headlight bricks with a 1x2 plate and a 2x2 plate and a 2x2 curved slope. And that's not even connected, it's just put on the base plate. So it's just touching like that. It is actually 2 separate builds, but when we've got them in place, you'll see that it looks fine. So we've got that. and that there. Now I won't push that down because I was thinking of embellishing this even more by removing one of the arms from the sofa and replacing the 1x2 tile with a jumper plate. And then I thought the remote control, for which I'm just using this printed tile in grey, could just be sort of sat like that. Because who doesn't have an armchair with the remote control just sat on it? So if I push all that down, I think that'll look very lived in, like somebody's halfway through watching a programme and has just popped in to make a cup of tea or something like that. Good, good. So if we look at that from outside, which is the most important angle, I think you can see from all angles that we'll be able to look in here that that is a fun and instantly recognisable scene. Good, good. So we've parked them. So now we can build another floor on top of this. In fact, I think I'll do them one by one because you're going to be able to see them a lot better if I do that. So that's next. Where should I put it? There. Okay, so here's the fourth floor. Done to the exact same standard, apart from a couple of changes. In this brick-built wall, I've got a 1x2 modified brick this time. And that's just so I can add a printed tile to represent a notice board. And that's from 7065, Alien Mothership, which is a fantastic Alien Conquest set from 2011. And that's actually the very large flying saucer that's over my corner station, hanging in the corner of my Lego room. The very first video I did, in fact. And it's actually about aliens attacking or alien sightings around the world, which is quite appropriate given that Brick Nottingham's got a massive flying saucer over it currently. The other change is so I can put some plants on the balcony. So first of all, I thought I'd put just a couple of plants on here because it's going to be an old lady's apartment, this one. So that looks rather nice. So I'm using a 1x1 round brick in dark red to represent the sort of terracotta of a pot. And that flower is a sort of more recent Friends type flower, and that's one of those bamboo shoots. But then I'd also changed the balcony edge as well, because I've put on a 1x1 plate on the end as opposed to just solid tiles. And that's just so I can put a third plant pot in pride of place on the edge there. So I think that adds not only a bit of colour of greens and brighter colours, but also a bit of interest there. And then I thought, as I said, it'd be an old lady's apartment, so I thought she could be walking from one room to another, and maybe we'd see her through this window, just looking at her plants. Yep, I like that. We can see her very clearly in her brown sweater. And then for this room, I thought it could be maybe an office. So I've just made a very basic table with a 2x4. Put that there. I've made an angle poise lamp. So that's just a very simple build. It's a robot arm clipped onto one of those pieces. Modified plate. And then it's gripping onto one of those new-ish small round modified tiles and a 1x1 in trans yellow. So that can go, if I can get my fingers in, on the corner of the desk. Get it at a nice angle. And then maybe, here's another tile. I was looking through all my tiles. Maybe she's reading or writing some music. So I thought I could put that on the desk. And that music tiles in loads of Friends sets, but one example would be 41309, Andrea's Musical Duet, which is a curious set really, because it says duet, but there's just one person in the set. But there is a bird, so maybe she's doing the duet with the bird. I have absolutely no idea. Anyway, so does that look good from outside? Well, I think it does. I think it looks like it's fully furnished. Things on the wall, things on a table, an occupant, even a bit of life on the outside. So that is our next floor. Fantastic. floor number 5. This one's going to be very quick in that I'm going to have a house that's either being moved into or moved out of. So I thought I'd just put some boxes, moving boxes, on the inside. Now, the first one of those is this one, and it's just a couple of 2x2 bricks, but the top one is patterned, and that one's from the 8199 Security Smash set, which is a great set for printed pieces. I must say, there's all sorts of different ones there, including a lovely sign that says Bob's Honest Warehousing and things like that, and another piece we're about to see. And just to represent a box that's sort of half open and half shut, got 4 cheese wedge pieces in tan, and you just basically make each one a quarter turn on from the one before, and it kind of looks like a half open box. So I thought that one could just be right in the window so you can see it very visibly. I like that. We can see the sticker and everything. Then next, there's another printed piece, or rather stickered piece. Now this one's from the train station, 7997, and it's obviously saying it's got glassware and this way up. It's not the most straight sticker, but nonetheless, maybe I'll revisit that with my patented hot tea technique. And then that can go right here. I picked that one to go a bit further back because its image is very clear even from a distance. And you can see I've put a 2x2 jumper plate on the top of that one, and that's just so I can add a third box. Now this one's using another sticker from that first set we looked at, the Security Smash set that the one on the left came with as well, and that just says fragile on it, handle with care. So I thought that box, using the jumper, could be put at an angle. So you've got 3 stickered pieces, one box half open and one box half turned. I think that looks really good. So that is floor number 5. Now we don't want all these floors completely jam-packed with good stuff. We want some looking a bit more ordinary. So that'll be one of these. So this is floor number 6. And I just thought I'd have this room being a dining room with, or at least with a table in anyway. And what better thing to have on a dining room table than a bottle of wine? Only one glass, but we shan't judge. There we go. Again, that looks very good because the wall is magnolia or just off-white, so that green and those red chairs are really going to pop against the background, so it's going to look more like that, I suppose. But I think we still could do with a little bit more colour, so I thought I'd add another plant pot, another 1x1 in that dark red, and this time I'm using one of those pieces I just got on the brick haul, which is one of those sort of leaf pieces that's new now, and you can see that any of these Friends flowers, and I'm just using a bright blue one here, or rather azure, medium azure probably. It might be medium blue. Hard to tell. In the top there, looking pretty good, and I'm going to put this plant pot at the other end just so when they're all stacked, it's a bit of contrast. But that looks very good as well. So we've got 2, 4, 6 now. Then number 7. I thought I'd have a bedroom this time. Now I've had a sort of dining room, I've had some people moving in, I've had a living room with the TV and kind of an office space, I suppose, with the desk. So why not have a bedroom as well? So I've made a very simple bed, just with the 2x6 plate and a 1x2 plates for the legs. And it's got interesting coloured sheets, bright pink on a sort of orange background. And the bed tile came from Mia's Campervan, which is the same set that that TV sticker came from. There's quite a few good stickers on that set, actually. There's a couple of good signs and so on as well. So, yeah, and then there's a 1x2 in white and a 2x2 curved slope just to make a very simple bed. So I thought that could go right in the middle of that room. And then just to finish that off, just got 1x2 palisade brick in, what's that, dark orange, with an empty glass, which could be used as a bedside table. Can't get it in. or nightstand if you're from the US, I suppose you call it. So that'll look like a very simple bedroom. And just so you know, I'm going to come back to this floor because I'm going to do a really good funny scene in here shortly. So I'll put that to this side. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7th floor. One more to go. So the last floor is the 8th floor, which is often thought of as the best one, the one at the top. So I thought I'd do some swanky furniture for this one. So here I've got an uplighter, which is just a 1x1 round plate at the bottom, with then a dish piece, telescope piece, 4 long bar piece, and then a white dish piece upside down before the round 1x1 plate again. I thought that could go right in the back corner. Well, not really in the back corner, but from our perspective it is. So you'll be able to see that as well from our main viewing angle. Very good. And I thought I'd have a bigger plant, but a house plant. So maybe this is a yucca or something like that, in a ridged 2x2 round brick. Bit different. That can go right in the window where it can get some nice light. And then we want somebody who wants to look at the whole of brick Nottingham from their very high vantage point. And I thought, who would want such a big view, since we've already done Lord Business or President Business in the office tower block. And I thought, well, Sauron from Lord of the Rings. He likes to watch things from a very tall tower. So I'll put him in. So there we are. There's the Eye of Sauron. If you've watched any of the Lord of the Rings films or read the books, you'll know what that's all about. So this is the All-Seeing Eye. And that's from set 79005, the Wizard Battle. I didn't buy that set. I just bought that piece. And then I thought the eye could be watching absolutely everything that's going on in the city. So I thought that would be quite funny. And you can also see that from everywhere as well. Good, good. Right, now this is the top floor, as I said, so I can finally put the roof on and then start stacking all these. And for the roof, I've got another 6x16. And what I've done is just done a simple rim in grey bricks, but with the ones on the front being bricks on the side as well. And then I've put on these clamp pieces, these modified plates, just to give an interesting sort of runged texture, and then tiles on the very top of that. Because although we do want some sort of 3D-ness, it doesn't have to be, crazy intricate. And there's still a lot of flat space behind if in due course I want to add anything more, like maybe some air conditioning or something like that. Okay, so that's the top. So we're going to have that on top of that, 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 on top of those two. Fantastic. Now my funny scene is going to be in the 7th floor, and that's just because then it will be very visible from all around the city. And to understand how I came up with this idea, I'll have to take you back a year when I went to Bristol, which is a city in the southwest of England, and home to the street artist Banksy, who you've probably heard of. He does the street art that's sort of mural based and graffiti sort of style in the dead of night, and then runs away anonymously, and it's just left on the side of somebody else's building. But they're really famous and people end up getting the whole walls removed to preserve them and so on. Anyway, when I went to Bristol, I saw a mural that's been there for years called Well Hung Lover, and it's basically a man hanging from a window ledge to escape the presumably jealous husband of the lady he's been visiting. And unfortunately it's been damaged by blue paint, by people throwing tennis balls doused in paint at it, which is a real shame. But nonetheless, I really liked the idea of that scene of having somebody sort of trying to escape a husband, a jealous husband, and rightly so, by hanging off a window ledge. So I thought I could have a lover hanging off the edge here. Now I've tried that and it doesn't hang on very well and it doesn't look that good. So I thought instead I'd just have him perched out on this window ledge. So I need 3 protagonists for this. I need the lady on the inside, the jealous husband coming out the door to look at the outside of the flat, and then I need the lover themselves hanging on or standing on this ledge on the outside. So we'll do those in reverse order, and you can see on this, instead of putting on the normal 1x6 tile, I've got a 1x4 tile and a 1x2 plate, and that's just so I can stand on the guilty party. Yes, completely naked man. Very rude. He hasn't even got pants on. Now, first of all, how do you make yellow trousers? Because they don't really do them anymore. Well, generally, you get ones with a yellow waistband and a different coloured legs, and then swap them with some that have got a coloured waistband and yellow legs, and thus combine them to make a pair of yellow legs. Then this is a normal torso from a beach set, a very distressed face, and some black hair. I think he looks a bit like Newman from Seinfeld, but nonetheless. So I'll put him looking very scared, because remember, he's on the 7th floor. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7th floor. So he should be quite scared there. Then next we'll do the lady in the scene, who's got pink underwear on and a clamshell up top. And she's got nice bunches in her blonde hair. So that's from the Bavarian Girl series minifigure. And she's looking suitably distressed and alarmed. So I thought I'd put her in the bedroom, looking very upset. And then the angry husband who's searching. He's very suspicious. He's sure that she's with somebody. And he's got his baseball bat. And he's looking pretty angry and mean, if you ask me. So I think he's searched a flat and now he's just popped out onto the... No, we'll keep the door open, won't we? Onto the balcony. And that's what he's doing. He's having a quick look. But he hasn't seen him yet. Now, hopefully you find that as hilarious as I do, because I think that's pretty funny. Very good. And we'll be able to see that from absolutely everywhere. I mean, who could miss a bright yellow naked minifigure on the outside of a ledge? Brilliant. Now, there's only one more thing I want to do to this before I finish it and piece it all together and put it in a Lego room, and that's to add some outdoor lighting. And I've got a few of these in trans colours. These are the sort of 2x2 upside down round tile sort of thing. They're called shoes sometimes. I don't know why. But anyway, I thought I'd put one of those on the underside of each floor. So it looks like there's a porch light. And the clear ones will be when it's off. And when it's on, because maybe somebody is looking for their wife's lover, the light is on. And then when we stack these floors together, let's hope this works. Am I doing that right? No, I'm not doing it right. There we go, one over. Phew, it worked. Then we can see the porch light is shining down because he's turned it on. So I'm going to, when I stack all these together, put one of these on each floor. Oh, okay. So I'm going to have to show you this sideways now because obviously it's far too tall for the angle that I've currently got things set up as. We've got our TV lounge, Our lady with plants and office. Moving in. Dining room with wine. Every dining room should have wine. Our hilarious scene, which I love more and more every time I see it. And then Sauron, looking at everyone in the entire city. And you can see the porch lights. We probably won't notice those when we're in the city proper. But I like adding the details. I'll know it's there. Good, good. So all that remains is for us to put this in the Lego room. So here we are in the Lego room with facade number 7 in place. And I think it looks rather fantastic. It's quite a contrast to the other ones, being completely different colours and styles and window shape and everything really. So I think it really works. I wanted it taller than the red one to its, to our right, because I wanted that to be a sort of small one sandwiched between 2 big ones. And arguably I could add another floor to this condo building and it still wouldn't be as tall as the office tower, but I did want the office tower to be quite a bit taller, so I think it works having this sort of up, down, up yet even more type thing. So yeah, I'm really happy with it, and I can definitely see all the scenes. I don't know if you can from this angle, but I'll go handheld in a minute. Best of all, the funny scene on floor 7 is absolutely visible, very clear to see what's going on, and I just find it brilliantly funny. So even though I'm congratulating myself, I think that's a job well done. Moving to shaky handheld. There's the distance view. But it is quite tall, as you can see. There's the railway lines and the tram line we were talking about. So there's 2 train lines and an elevated monorail tram line. And you can see the bottom white floor there. Doesn't detract. In fact, I think it adds that it's different. And then that first apartment floor, so the second floor up, you cannot see at all. And that's the one that was completely empty. And you can see why I haven't bothered now. The other floors, the next 2, will be blocked when the tram itself goes past, but I don't think that's a problem because that's not going to be happening most of the time. But I think you'll agree, you can see very clearly into each and every one of those floors and see what's going on. Fantastic. Now while we're here zoomed in, I'm just going back to the tower on the right, the red tower. One of my wonderful subscribers asked for the man to be waving at the drone, so I changed that while I was there. Also, we wanted a bit of depth on the roof, so I added some 1x2 slopes with the slats on, just to represent sort of a bit of 3D and aircon. It's not a huge difference, I agree, but there wasn't much I could really do at this stage or from this distance. So anyway, there we go. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. Right, be honest. Who thought I'd forgotten my New Year's resolution? Well, I haven't. So this is today's vehicle for adding to the streets of brick Nottingham. I said I'd add a new vehicle to populate my roads every time I did a city update. And this is a fantastic, iconic VW Campervan type vehicle, which comes with set 4207, which incidentally is the car park over here that I'm using as a modular side on, which is a really good building. And the train actually goes through part of the back of that, if you haven't seen one of the train cam videos. And who better to drive this than this Series 7 hippie with his tie-dye t-shirt and his hairband and long hair. Fantastic. He's even got a wonderful mug of tea, essential equipment. So I'll put that on the roads. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. Subscriber numbers have been growing quite strongly recently, which is very good to see, so a warm welcome to all of you new joiners. There's a lot to catch up on. Everything you see in this city does have its own video, so do look at the back catalogue. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, I think we'll be putting our first modular into the area near the beach. Haven't decided which one or exactly which place it's going into yet, but I think we'll do that. See you then!